September 2020, which was initiated last year on 3rd September 2020 by the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice, Group Development Pakistan, and the Women in Law Initiative Pakistan, with the support from the Australian High Commission and the British High Commission. This project is a labor of love to all those women who continue to shatter glass ceilings and pave the way for a more equitable, enabling, and an inclusive future. Today, we celebrate how far we have come and how much further we'll go. Months of hard work, brainstorming, conception, design, data collection, and the support of our patrons, colleagues, and volunteers has allowed us to make this platform a reality. This is not just our achievement. It belongs to each and every one of us who supported us and contributed to it, and those who may do so in the future as well. We appreciate you endlessly. Without further ado, we shall begin. First of all, I would like to invite Ma'am Nida to explain some of the several facets of this project. As this project was aimed to achieve many things, of which one was the compilation of official data segregated by gender to assess the disparity within the profession. The baseline study was conducted by Nida Usman Chaudhry, who is not only the founder of the Women in Law Initiative Pakistan, but also the curator and the lead consultant for this project, which goes one step further to present that data in the shape of Pakistan's first report on the status of women's representation in law. Ma'am Nida, we now invite you to share your findings.
Thank you so much, Isham. I'm just going to share my screen and switch the study on. I hope that this is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging the support in the compilation of this study of our patrons, the Ministry of Law and Justice, the Australian High Commission, the British High Commission, Group Development Pakistan, and my colleagues at Women in Law, as well as the colleagues from the legal fraternity in general, the bar councils, the prosecution offices. Without their support, this would not have been possible. We're well aware, as we're all well aware, that law has been a male-dominated profession, not just in Pakistan, but the world over. But one of the biggest challenges has always been in terms of the lack of availability of gender segregated data. So this study is basically an attempt to compile such data. I'm going to just walk you through some of the main findings. Let me just go on to the next slide. Yeah. So over here, we have the introduction and the overview of the study. The study is basically designed to highlight the status of representation of women in the legal profession. It's one of the first studies of its kind in which province and tier-wise gender segregated data under 4 different categories that we've selected has been presented. These include the judiciary, the bar councils, advocates, public prosecutors, and in part 5, then we have the cumulative data on, which basically sort of compares and contrasts these 4 select categories that we've added. And in the concluding note, we have our observations, and then we went on to add the annexures in which we have compiled the excerpts of the nomination and appointment processes for these select categories. So that's pretty much the overview of the study. Just one thing that I wanted to highlight was that it was not within the scope of this study to underpin the factors that may be the cause of the disparity. The idea behind the study was basically to just provide the quantitative representation of the disparity, both in numbers and as well as in percentages, to highlight how much the gap actually is between men and women in the profession and its leadership roles. So it's not just the disparity at the entry level, but also the disparity at the career advancement level. So that's what we have done. Now, I sincerely hope that this study can serve as a consolidated and initial reference for future work documenting the diversity and inclusion in the legal profession. Over here, you see the data from our part 1. These are basically, again, just the excerpts from the study. The study is now available on the portal, which we'll be launching shortly. The subordinate judiciary, as you can see, these are the different provinces, and the data is compiled using all official resources. And if you just focus on KP, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it is observed that in terms of percentage, it's the most progressive province in terms of representation of women, because 22% of women make up the subordinate judiciary. Subordinate judiciary is basically all the courts that are below the high court level. So that's where we stand. So KP leads at 22%. But overall, if you look at the judiciary, when you compare the data of the high courts, and then of course, Supreme Court, we were not able to include much because, as we all know, that 70 plus odd years, Pakistan's history, we've never had a woman as a justice of the Supreme Court. And this is a distinction that only Pakistan holds in the entire region. Even Afghanistan has representation of women in Supreme Court. So of course, there's no data of that. So when we talk about the higher courts, we just have the high court level, and this is a provincial breakdown for that. Now, if you look at this, these are the figures from 29th of December 2020. And as at that date, we only had 6 women, and that just comes down to around 5% of women, who are judges of the high court. So that's quite telling. So, but as you go up, I mean, what I found interesting was that as you go up, the high court level, the disparity is quite pronounced in the superior judiciary, and it shows that the greater challenges lie in the advancement in comparison to the entry. So of course the entry itself is an issue, but when you compare the entry stage with that of the advancement, then the decrease in the number of women that are female justices or female judges in the high court is significant. So it really shows that it's the advancement where we need to work. And it's also very telling of the process of the nomination and appointment of the superior judiciary in the country as contained in 175A of the Constitution, because we know that the recruitment at the subordinate level is done through competitive examination, whereas when we come to the high courts, the process is different, and over there the prerogative and the nominations are to be moved by the Chief Justice of the respective high court. So that's where that's something that we need to look at. But altogether, if you see essentially what the representation of women looks like as far as judiciary is concerned, this is where we are at. So this is the total number of judges in percentages in Pakistan. It includes, the numbers from the subordinate as well as the superior judiciary. And altogether, women make up only 15% of the judiciary in Pakistan. Similarly, at the Bar Council level, Sindh leads with only 2 women being present as members of the Bar Council in Sindh. In Punjab, you just have 1. In AJK, you have 1. In the rest of the provinces, you have no representation of women at all. And that's extremely, harrowing. And Punjab, maybe, we have this one because October 2020 ke jo elections huए the elections that we had for the Bar Councils in Punjab, one of the candidates was disqualified, and the candidate next in line happened to be a woman, so that is why she won that seat. So it's very telling that the Bar Councils, which are the statutory bodies regulating, the main bodies regulating the profession, don't have significant they don't have any real, or there's no voice of women in most of the provinces. So this is obviously something very, very concerning. When you look at this figure, you realize that not even half of the female advocates that are in the fraternity are actually represented. Moving on, if you go to this slide, this is an excerpt from the study itself. It shows you that only 2% of women are represented in bar councils, whereas the rest of the profession is being regulated by the men, for the men. 98% of them constitute members of the bar councils. Now, of course, bar councils are the only in our select categories. The other sort of categories are obviously based on the appointments or the nominations process, but the bar councils, the members are elected through elections and through votes of the fraternity. So over there, obviously, the dynamics may be very different, but still, these are challenges, and the numbers will help us identify what interventions are required to address these gaps. Now, with Advocate Supreme Court, these are the different seats of the Supreme Court, and these are the different figures of advocates from the Supreme Court. Now, if you look at them independently, of course, we see that Karachi leads with 6% of women being advocate Supreme Court. But overall, when you sort of take the aggregate out, you see that only 4% of women in Pakistan are advocate of Supreme Courts. Now, this is very similar. This is a trend which is very similar to what we saw in the judiciary, that at the superior level or at the career advancement level, the number significantly drops, because when you compare it to the number of advocates in provinces, this is basically the high court and the lower court level. If you look at the detailed study, we have given the breakdown of the number of advocates that are there in the lower courts as well as in the high courts. But over here, I've just used the excerpts because we wanted to save on time and just share with you the main findings. So over here, of course, ICT is leading because it has 21% of women as advocates. But when you compare it to the percentage in the Supreme Court, it shows that, again, the problem is or the challenge lies at the advancement when you compare it to the entry. And it's very interesting, it's very concerning also, because representation in the Pakistan Bar Council, which is the apex body regulating the lawyers, is interlinked with the seniority and your license to practice at the Supreme Court level. So if there are not enough women in the Supreme Court as advocates, of course, and of course the chances are that they would continue to be unrepresented in the Pakistan Bar Council as well. So, I mean, this really needs to be looked at as to what are the reasons why women are not advancing to this stage. Are there interviews not being held? If so, are the number of cases in which they need to have their judgments, next to their name, they're not being cited enough, or they're not getting an opportunity to argue their cases? Whatever the structural and systemic reasons are, they need to be looked at. But of course, we'll need another study for that. This one just focuses on the data. So I just wanted to, put this out there for you guys. So in terms of, province-wise representation, and of course tier-wise as well, because we've added the Supreme Court just for sake of comparison, this is how women fare. And in terms of percentage, of course, ICT leads, but these are not very encouraging numbers to begin with. Altogether, you just have about 12% women and 88% men in the legal profession as advocates. Now, if you come to prosecutors, it's very interesting because Sindh leads in terms of representation of women as prosecutors, but Balochistan comes a close second at 15%, then comes Punjab. So this is something that I found very interesting, and I thought I'll just, bring it to your attention. So, I mean, of course, these disparities are quite harrowing. They are distressing, but they're not surprising, because for now, there are no affirmative actions in place to provide the degree of operative equality between men and women. Like, for instance, there's no reserved seats and there's no weighted voting rights in the Bar Council. And we see no effort on the part of the institutions to undertake any efforts to, increase the diversity of the pipeline or take any initiatives that would improve the chances of diverse groups, not just women, but all other marginalized groups from being eligible for the appointments and the nominations. And there may be other barriers which can be both visible or the invisible barriers, including but not limited to the hostile environment or kinship, preference for kinship, the lack of resources. All of these may be factors contributing to the stagnation of diversity of representation in the profession. But like I said, more research on that is needed. Until then, I hope that the regulators and the concerned bodies recognize these disparities and structural barriers, and these have led to the hegemonic playing field. And we need these institutions to play their leading role in introducing the necessary reforms for ensuring and enabling a diverse and inclusive system that can improve the stature of the profession on the Diversity Inclusion Index. I hope you find the study useful, and I'll be looking forward to the feedback, because we worked really hard, and this obviously is just one of the first of many works on this. So thank you so much for your time and for listening to our findings. I'm going to stop the screen share now.
Thank you so much, ma'am Nida. Those numbers are harrowing. And as we all know, As Ma'am Nida has already said, they're harrowing, but they're not surprising. Because this is the kind of things we've heard about in anecdotal evidence for so long. And narratives change, narratives can be manipulated, but numbers don't lie. And for this, I think we should all appreciate Ma'am Nida's detailed research, which is no doubt incredibly difficult with the kind of academic atmosphere we have in this country. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this important work that would be so important for any future discourse on disparity in the legal profession in Pakistan. And now we'd move on to the launch of one of the most anticipated digital legal platforms in the recent years. And to present it, I would like to invite Sir Ali Abbas and Ma'am Nida Usman Chaudhary to present it.
Thank you so much, Isham. When we embarked on this project, it initially just had one component, and that was the Women in Law Awards. But we felt that alone, though a big feat on its own, was just not sufficient to do justice to the contributions of female lawyers, which are many. And we wanted to create a lasting platform to give visibility to women in law and to, make available the data, the resources, and access to opportunities in a way that would, provide solutions for our common challenges and struggles through, of course, the use of technology, and that something that would subsist beyond the life of a project. So that's when the whole idea to incorporate the development of an online portal and the app was conceived. And our patrons and donors, I must say, supported it fully, and for that, I'm truly indebted. And thereafter, months of hard work and conception, design, data collection, and support from colleagues and our patrons and partners. I must obviously mention here Miss Malika Bukhari's support was, instrumental in getting us access to the data. And our partners, of course, Australian High Commission, British High Commission. It resulted in the completion of this portal and app. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely thrilled to officially launch and reveal our portal and app, lawyer.pk. That's LAWYHER.pk. Ali, over to you.
Thank you, Nida. Thank you, Nida, for giving the overview and background behind this platform for increasing women's representation in law. In the initial planning phase, one of the major considerations behind building this platform was to ensure inclusiveness and accessibility of women lawyers across the country. Keeping that in mind, the technology and platform was selected accordingly, and as a result, lawyer.pk has a dedicated website portal with the URL lawyer.pk, which can be accessed from any browser while using any kind of device. Moreover, the mobile applications are available on both Apple Store and Google Play Store, which can easily be downloaded by searching for lawyer.pk. Our team has also worked on developing an explainer video about the web portal and mobile app with an aim to increase awareness among the general public on its usability and features. I invite you all to join me for watching this explainer video. Just a second.
पाकिस्तान में कानून के शोबे में बुनियादी तौर पर मर्द हावी हैं। यहाँ सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट में ख़वातीन जजेस की तादाद ना होने के बराबर है। बार काउंसिल्स में भी ख़वातीन की नुमाइंदगी इंतहाई मायूस कुन है। ख़वातीन की नुमाइंदगी के हवाले से इस अदम मसावात को दूर करने के लिए वफाकी वजारत कानून व इंसाफ ने ग्रुप डेवलपमेंट पाकिस्तान और विमेन इन लॉ इनिशिएटिव पाकिस्तान के ताउन से इंक्रीजिंग विमेन रिप्रेजेंटेशन इन लॉ के नाम से एक अहम कदम उठाया, जिसका मकसद कानून के शोबे में ख़वातीन की नुमाइंदगी बढ़ाना है। इस कदम के तहत एक वेब पोर्टल lawyer.pk बनाया जा चुका है, जिसमें एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पर वो तमाम सहूलियात रखी गई हैं जिनके ज़रिए ख़वातीन वकला को कानून के शोबे में सीखने और पेशा वाराना तरक्की करने के मौके मिल सकेंगे। lawyer.pk के ज़रिए ख़वातीन वकला कानून से मुतालिक आगाही हासिल कर सकेंगी और इन्हें नेटवर्किंग के मौके भी फराहम होंगे। ख़वातीन वकला की डायरेक्टरी किसी भी शहर में मतलूबा कानूनी अमूर की माहिर खातून वकील की तलाश को मुमकिन बनाएगी। डिस्कशन फोरम पर खवातीन कानून से मुतालिक मौज़ूआत पर अपने ख़यालात का इजहार कर सकेंगी। कानून साजी में खवातीन की खिदमात का अलग सेक्शन बनाया गया है, जिसमें खवातीन वकला की तारीखी खिदमात पर मवाद मौजूद है। इंटरव्यूज़ एंड अपडेट सेक्शन में खवातीन वकला के इंटरव्यूज़ और कानून से मुतालिक अपडेट्स शामिल होंगी। यूजफुल रिसोर्सेज वाले सेक्शन से कानून से मुतालिक किताबों और वीडियोस के लिंक हासिल किए जा सकते हैं। इन सब के अलावा ये डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म कानून के शोबे से ताल्लुक़ रखने वाली खवातीन को आपस में जोड़ने और इनके ख़यालात दुनिया तक पहुँचाने में मददगार होगा और इनकी कामयाबियों और खिदमात का भरपूर अंदाज में एतराफ़ करने के साथ साथ इनकी मुस्बत तशहीर भी करेगा।
Thank you for watching the video. I will now request Nida to give us a tour of the website.
Thank you so much for doing a wonderful job at the video. I'm just going to take us back to the portal. Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, it is.
ओके ग्रेट सो बाकी फीचर्स तो हमने देख लिए हैं। मैं क्विकली बस बताना चाहती हूँ कि इसमें बेसिकली रजिस्टर आप कैसे करके अपनी प्रोफाइल बना सकते हैं और इंफॉर्मेशन डेस्क और फाइन प्रैक्टिशनर्स कैसे ऑपरेट करेगा। सो इफ़ यू लॉग ऑन टू द वेबसाइट lawyer.pk, बिल्कुल आपको टॉप लेफ्ट के ऊपर लॉग इन रजिस्टर का ये टैब नज़र आएगा। यू जस्ट प्रेस ऑन इट and it will give you this option. अगर आपका बना हुआ है already profile, so you just enter your username and your password and you log in. If not, you will just register. मैं इसमें ये बात साफ कर देना चाहती हूँ कि इसमें जो भी personal details हैं आपकी, चाहे आपका एड्रेस है, चाहे आपकी फ़ोन नंबर वगैरह है, ये वेबसाइट के ऊपर कहीं पे भी नशर नहीं होगा। ये इन्फॉर्मेशन प्राइवेट ही रहेगी। आपकी सिर्फ प्रोफेशनल डिटेल्स जो हैं, जैसे आप किस टाइप के प्रैक्टिशनर हैं, आप किस टीयर पे ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, मिड लेवल है, सीनियर एंट्री लेवल है, आपकी एजुकेशन क्या है, आपका एरिया ऑफ प्रैक्टिस क्या है, और ये आप मल्टीपल चूज कर सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल लेजिस्लेटिव ड्राफ्टिंग है, उसके बाद यू कैन सिलेक्ट मोर ऑप्शन। सो आप जो भी सिलेक्ट करेंगे वो यहाँ पे ऐड होते जाएंगे बॉक्सेस के अंदर। सो ओनली योर प्रोफेशनल डिटेल्स विल इवेंचुअली बी विजिबल। यहाँ आपके पास कुछ और ऑप्शंस हैं, यू हैव टू कंसेंट एंड अंडरटेक, और जो हमारी टर्म्स एंड प्राइवेसी पॉलिसी है उसको भी आप पढ़ लीजिए, बिकॉज दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। दैट्स द मेन डॉक्यूमेंट दैट रेगुलेट्स द यूज ऑफ दिस वेबसाइट, सो प्लीज रीड दैट। बट वंस योर प्रोफाइल इज रेडी, जो कि इस वक्त ऑब्वियसली हमारे पास डेमो प्रोफाइल्स हैं, मैं आपको वो दिखा देती हूँ। जब आपकी प्रोफाइल रेडी होगी तो यहाँ से आप उसको, जैसे इस वक्त मेरी प्रोफाइल जो है वो तैयार है, आप यहाँ एडवांस सर्च के ऑप्शन से भी जो है प्रैक्टिशनर्स ढूंढ सकते हैं। सो इफ यू आर लुकिंग फॉर स्पेसिफिक लॉयर, ADR है, मीडिएशन है, जो भी, आप उनके टाइप ऑफ प्रैक्टिशनर से भी रिसर्च कर सकते हैं। आप अगर उनको एरिया ऑफ प्रैक्टिस से देखना चाहते हैं, ढूंढना चाहते हैं, तो आप वो भी इस पे सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। सिटी वाइज सिलेक्ट करने का ऑप्शन भी मौजूद है, प्रोविंस वाइज भी है। सो इस तरह से करके आपके पास डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस होंगे, और उसके बाद जब आप सर्च दबाएंगे तो आपके पास इस तरह नीचे ऑप्शंस आ रहे होंगे, एंड यू कैन decide whether you want to send email or whether you want to first view their profile. So if you view their profile, this is what your this is the only information that will actually go public. So it's going to be the about us that you write, so your profile, your brief sort of qualifications, your picture if you upload one, and then these are the professional qualifications that will be visible. So where you're based, what your graduation year is, ये जो भी आप मतलब details अपनी देंगे, but your personal details are secure. और यहाँ पे आ जाएंगी related profiles. So like if you don't know of other lawyers operating in similar practice areas, so the website will give you related profiles of other lawyers as well, so that you can see. And then from here, you can contact the practitioner as a user. So you'll enter your name, you will enter your email and your subject and your message, and you'll send the message. And this message is going to land directly in the practitioner's mailbox. So जो email ID वो register करते वक्त देंगे, उस पे directly उनको mail चली जाएगी from the platform here. So the user will never have access to the email ID of the practitioner until such time that the practitioner replies to the person contacting them from the platform. And the idea is to obviously maintain the privacy and privilege of the communication. तो ये इस तरीके से सिस्टम डिजाइन किया गया है. कभी कभी होता है कि यहाँ से जो ईमेल आती है वो आपके जंक फोल्डर में भी लैंड कर सकती है. So we'll request the practitioners कि थोड़े vigilant रहे, and if they receive an email from this platform, they should not they should sort of give it a go ahead so that it doesn't land up in their junk folders. But anyway, this was generally how the plan is to connect any clients with potential lawyers, and not just the clients. So if you're looking for female speakers and female experts to speak on a specific topic for a workshop or for any conference, so you can do this research, find them, and then contact them with your query here from this platform. So this is something very interesting. Now, the other very interesting thing is that in the resources, we have developed an information desk. And over here, you will find these 4 options with the quantitative data, details or information, infographics about the legal profession, online support directories, which are linked. So if you, and the helplines and useful contacts. So if you press on them, these are some of the helplines that we've added, and you can directly call them. If you're using this on your app, you can directly call them from your mobile, or you can get their number from the website and contact them. And these are just 2 pages right now, but we can continue to add them. So, these are all your emergency helplines and useful contacts. For the support directories, we have the GDP Online Victim Support Directory. If you press on view, it is going to directly take you to the victim support directory. So it's all interconnected. You can find practitioners. This is our own directory. And Ab Aur Nahi, this is a blog by DRF, and it has lawyers that are dealing with cases of harassment. Likewise, in legal profession, you have these steps. You can view them. So we have basically summarized the process for appointment of a civil judge, eligibility requirements for membership of provincial bar, like all the basic information related to the legal profession that you might be looking for is available here. So for example, if you want to find out how to obtain your license, you can just click on this and it will give you an infographic. So it will just basically give you a stepwise information and contact details right over here. And finally, if you go back to the information desk, this is the quantitative data in its raw form. So if you don't want access to the whole study, you can just go to the prosecutors, advocates, and you can just get the data of the relevant category that you're looking for. But if you want the whole report, you will go to resources, you will come down to reports, and this is where you will find the status of women's representation law, a baseline study that we've authored, and it's available and you can download it easily from the web portal itself. So yeah, this is basically pretty much what I wanted to talk about, and the rest, the video has already introduced you to the main features. If there are any questions, we can answer them in the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sir Ali. This work has been so exciting, and I really appreciate the extent of thought that has gone into developing this system. It's truly one of a kind. Now, we have been receiving many comments and questions on our Facebook page, some of which I found are really interesting, and I am now going to put forward towards the
Before we do that, Isham, I would like to welcome Barrister Malika Bourhari, Secretary Parliamentarian to the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice and MNA, one of the Bahadur pro-women role model for us all today. And I mean what I said. This is an honor and a very significant day for you to be here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Valerie. It's my absolute delight to be present here today and to be seeing this important initiative unfold with, of course, Nida's support, her leadership, all the immense work that Group Development Pakistan has put into it, and all the support we have received from the British High Commission. So for me and for all the women lawyers across the country, it's a very important day, and we must all enjoy it because finally women lawyers and students, law students and legal practitioners who are women will have their footprint, will have their work recorded in history. And I think it's very important for any democracy that that happens. So thank you. And I will stay in the session for the next 30 minutes and see whatever is happening. And inshallah, we will move forward in a better fashion. And in the next 2 years, the people of Pakistan and people across the globe will know what tremendous female lawyers Pakistan has produced. Thank you.
Jiyesham, up to you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. And thank you for joining us, ma'am Malika. Now, to begin our question and answer session, I believe the first question would be directed towards Sir Ali or ma'am Nida. The question is, how would you guarantee the protection of the privacy of people who register on your portal?
I'm so glad you asked that. I believe that some part of it I've already answered in the presentation, but you see, like I said, that personal details of the practitioner at no point are displayed on the screen. Their profiles only show the professional details that they choose to enter. Likewise, when and if a user sends a message to reach out to the practitioner from our platform using the send message option, the message reaches the practitioner in their mailbox directly. So they don't even have to come up with any other new email ID. It could possibly land in their junk mail as well. But this is the user who sends a message does not get to know of it until they get a response from the practitioner in question. And other than that, we have quite an elaborate privacy policy on the portal, and all the practitioners signing up are encouraged to read that. So when they sign on, they will be directed to read that again. There's obviously, it's available right there at the header. So like we don't store cookies, we don't save any IP addresses. So technically also all attempts have been at least all possible known attempts to ensure privacy have been managed from our end. Of course, we can't take responsibility for anything that the user willingly puts out there for consumption, and that is something that we would encourage everyone to use the platform responsibly so that it can be a professional place for interaction. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, I believe it does answer the question quite substantively. Another question we have, I think, would also be directed towards ma'am Nida. The question is, will only women be allowed to use the Woman in Law site, or will transgender people also be included in possible users?
This is a very, very good question. Now, let me first clarify, this is not a Woman in Law site. This is our new, albeit related platform. It's called lawyer.pk. It caters to female lawyers and all those who may identify as female and is inclusive of transgenders. As long as they're lawyers, as long as they're lawyers, they are more than welcome to be, listed on the practitioner as practitioners on the directory. So yeah, it's inclusive.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And now I believe this can be our final question. So the final question is, the webpage contains a discussion forum. Will the discussion forum be moderated, or will there be any criteria of conversation on the discussion forum?
Okay, so I'm glad that this question came up, because I want to explain one thing. When you register and you create your profile, there are two things that can happen. One is that you just want to register and create your profile in the directory so that you can be found and there's visibility of your work and people can contact you for that. So that's separate. That's something that is open to all female lawyers. They can do that. But in order to have access to the discussion forum, you need to be a member. So that's basically a next tier. And for that, of course, there's because the discussion forum needs to be a safe space where professional conversations can take place, and it's a trusted environment. So that's a step ahead. So I mean, there are two tiers for that, but I mean, I hope that that's clear. So in terms of moderation, of course, we will not be moderating or policing everybody like kids, but there is the terms of use and the privacy policy that I keep referring to. And of course, we expect professional standards and no hate speech, and also that, it's basically the discussion forum has been designed keeping in mind the function of the Women in Law WhatsApp group that we currently have. And so there are some of the categories that I've been able to select from the usual discussion that takes place therein. And those are, those are the categories around which discussion can be initiated, because the discussions can only be created under specific category. The categories that we currently have are 6 in number. Number 1, if you have any legal query, so you can post any legal query under the legal query category. Then if you want to share any legal developments and updates, you can choose that category and initiate a discussion on that. If you want to request for any laws or documents or templates or drafts, you can initiate discussion for that. That's a category. If you want to request a referral to another lawyer, to some advocate, to NGO, to any other state institution, police, or ombudsperson office, if you're looking for any referral, you can initiate a query, or you can initiate discussion under that category. If you want to advertise any law related events or conference or workshops and seminars, or any jobs for that matter, although we have a separate area for listing jobs as well, but if you want to take it in the discussion forum in a closed group, you can do that as well. If there are any other initiatives that women lawyers are taking, like they did during COVID, they did ration drives and they were asking for donations. So any of those endeavors can also be listed. And finally, category number 6 is other. So, but we would hope that, people will keep it within the parameters of the professional networking. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And with that, our question and answer session comes to an end. Now, I would like to begin our keynote addresses, considering that Ma'am Malika is not with us for much longer. So first of all, I would like to invite the Honorable Parliamentary Secretary, Ministry of Law and Justice, Barrister Malika Bukhari, without whose support and dedication to the cause of amplifying women's voices, this and other landmark initiatives that she has led would not have been possible. Ms. Malika Bukhari, please, you have the floor.
If I may, I'm so sorry, if I may, Isham, could you please first request Joanne Frederickson to speak, and then we will have Ayona, then, sorry, Justice Nasir Iqbal first, then Joanne Frederickson, then Ayona, and then Honorable Barrister Malika Bukhari, please. Justice Nasira, please.
Telling all right, ma'am. Well, now I would like to introduce our guest of honor, a name that leads in Pakistan's legal field, a legal jurist with no parallel. And honestly, she requires no introduction. Ma'am Nasir Iqbal, we are so honored to have you join us today. So please, if you could share a few words of wisdom with us, we would be very grateful.
Thank you very much, Valerie. And I would first of all like to congratulate all the people who have been responsible for introducing this online web portal, which includes the British High Commission, the Australian Embassy, and the Ministry of Law and Justice, and also any other people who have been responsible in sponsoring this. And then, of course, next of more than anybody else, Nida Usman, who has initiated this whole program and developed a database in this web portal, which is available at lawyer.com, and which is, I think, a great asset for women who are planning to enter the legal profession or are already in the legal profession or have anything concerning law that they want to find out about. And another thing which is very relevant is that it gives you data of all the women in prosecution, in the legal practice, in the subordinate courts, in the High Court, and unfortunately none in the Supreme Court, then the elected members of the Bar Council. So this is a very important database. मैं ज़्यादा बातें उर्दू में भी करना पसंद करती हूँ, क्योंकि एक जो है मकूला मशहूर है, औरतें गिनी जाए तो उनके काम भी गिने जाएंगे। जब तक आप औरतों की तादाद जो है उसकी ना कोई करेंगे पहले डेटा, तो आप कुछ भी आगे नहीं कर सकते। दूसरी बात ये है कि जब आप पॉलिसी मेकिंग करते हैं खवातीन के लिए, और अभी बात हुई थी अफर्मेटिव एक्शन की कि कितनी हमें जरूरत है, क्योंकि ओवरऑल जो विमेन लॉयर्स हैं वो सिर्फ 12% हैं हमारे इस वक्त सारे कोर्ट्स को अगर मिला लें। इसमें मेरा ख्याल है कि अगर हम फैमिली कोर्ट्स को देखें तो सबॉर्डिनेट कोर्ट्स में तादाद बहुत ज्यादा है, इसलिए कि 1964 में जो फैमिली कोर्ट्स एक्ट पास हुआ था उसमें ये था कि हर जिले में कम से कम एक औरत जज होगी जो वहां पे एडजुडिकेट करेगी फैमिली मैटर्स। और फिर कुछ अरसे के बाद जब हो गई ज्यादा वकला तो ये 2 हो गए हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में। और जब शुरू में बहुत कम थी तो कहते थे कि 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में एक खातून जाएगी, 3 दिन एक उसमें बैठेगी और 3 दिन एक और में। तो ये जो कोर्ट्स थे इनके वहां आने से बहुत इंकरेजमेंट हुई औरतों को प्रोफेशन ज्वाइन करने की भी, और फिर जज बनने की, क्योंकि वहां पे पॉसिबिलिटी थी तो इसलिए भी। एक बात मैं आपको बताऊं शायद जो इसमें अभी आपके डेटाबेस में नहीं आई, दुनिया भर में लॉ इज अ मेल डोमिनेटेड प्रोफेशन, एंड व्हेन आई वेंट टू हार्वर्ड आई डिस्कवर्ड that the first woman who was granted entry into Harvard Law School was in 1950. In Punjab, in the law college, I think it was around 1960. So we are not far beyond, and beyond Harvard or other international centers. और ये जून बेडर गिन्सबर्ग का आपको पता होगा ना, she was the very prominent female judge of the Supreme Court of the United States. She was living in Boston. Her husband was doing medical practice or something there, and she wanted to be admitted in Harvard Law School, and she was denied admission. So she went to Columbia to get her degree, and then when she came back, she came to Harvard and she wanted to join a law firm. And the law firms were also skeptical because there had never been any women lawyers. So it was with great difficulty that she entered. But once she did enter, then there was no stopping her, and you know how rapid her progress was, upward mobility, and that is a great example for all of us. And I think we have, in that perspective, if this year, we haven't done badly, because we celebrated 50 years of women at Harvard Law School at the turn of the century when it was 2000. And we can celebrate 100 years of women in law in 2060. All of you who are around by then, and most of you will, but of course, I have no legitimate expectancy, but this will be a great milestone for women.
Thank you
And
so
all
much,
the data.
Justice Smith. I'm so sorry, Ji. Nasira Iba, thank you so much. In the interest of time, because we have our delegated foreign dignitaries who need to leave, I would request Honorable Johan Frederiksson to follow suit after your very, very inspiring speech, Justice Nasira Iba. Thank you so much, Ji. Johan.
Thank you very much, and welcome to our distinguished guests, particularly Parliamentary Secretary Malika Buhari and the Honourable Justice Nazira Iqbal, and to all others participating today, welcome. And I'm very delighted to be providing, for the Australian High Commission to be providing support for this very important initiative of increasing women's representation in law. And the 2 important components of the project being launched today, the web app and mobile app, the web portal and mobile app, and the baseline report of women representation in law 2021. So notably, our Foreign Minister is also our Minister for Women, and she's placed gender equality at the centre of our foreign and domestic policy. And promotion and protection of women's rights is also one of the key pillars driving our human rights agenda. So we take a multi-pronged approach to closing the gender gap, focusing on increasing girls' and women's access to basic public services, promoting women's economic empowerment, and enhancing women's voices in policy frameworks and institutions. And I'm proud to say that here in Pakistan, we have a long precedent of promoting equality and the rights of women through Male Champion of Change, Pakistan chapter, as well as through our development assistance activities. And if I could just quickly, some examples, we're helping 290,000 women with essential maternal health in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. And we've had a program with Oxfam, which launched an animated TV series in Sindh to challenge the stereotype that girls and women belong at home. And as part of that program, we also had used that program as a catalyst for e-courses, which were approved by the Higher Education Commission and launched just this week to address discrimination and harassment of women at universities. So we recognise the important role that women play, and which brings me to support for this initiative. Increasing the representation of women in legal institutions, whether lawyers, judges, members of the bar councils, or in other capacities, has a number of benefits for society. Of course, it promotes women's economic empowerment in the legal sector, but importantly, it enhances the role of women's voices in legal institutions. So an inclusive legal sector is essential for equity in the law generally, but particularly for justice systems to respond best to the needs of women and children. So underrepresentation of women in the law is a challenge in many countries, and certainly it's something we have to continue to work on in Australia as well. So this initiative, this wonderful initiative, provides a welcome opportunity for Australia and Pakistan to exchange ideas on how we can increase women's representation in the legal sector in both of our countries. No nation has a monopoly on the best approach to solving the challenges of gender equality, and we have much we can learn from each other. So I want to congratulate the implementing partners, Group Development Pakistan and the Women in Law Initiative Pakistan. I know this launch has been the culmination of a lot of very hard work, and the web portal and mobile app, LawHer PK, which is a wonderful title, brings together so many useful resources and highlights the contribution of women in the legal sector and provides opportunities for networking and professional development. I'm confident it will be a valuable resource, not only for women lawyers, but for the legal community more broadly. And congratulations too on the development of the baseline report, which recognises the lack of gender segregated data in key positions within the legal profession. So it fills an absolutely critical gap. And the data has been so painstakingly collected and compiled, and it will be a sound base to build on. So I'd like to acknowledge the strong ongoing support for this initiative from the Ministry of Law and Justice. And thank you to all the participants today and to our colleagues at the British High Commission as well for their support as well. So we're looking forward to continuing to engage with you as the activities planned under the initiative come to fruition in coming months. So thank you, and I wish you all the success with this work, and I hope that many more of the wonderful and talented women in the legal profession continue to shatter the glass ceiling here in Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you so much. May I request Ms. Ayuna Thomas, the Political Counsel of the British High Commission, to express her views on this event.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The British High Commission is delighted to partner with the Australian High Commission and the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice to support the efforts of the Government of Pakistan to promote the contribution of women in the legal profession. I'd like to commend the efforts of the Australian High Commission and their commitment to women's empowerment, which Joanne has just outlined, and Barrister Malika Bukhari, Parliamentary Secretary of Law and Justice and member of the National Assembly, for her personal commitment to improving access to justice for citizens of Pakistan, particularly promoting child justice and gender justice. We know that there are excellent women lawyers and judges in Pakistan. I have been lucky enough to meet them in my work on human rights, working with civil society, and also achieving scholars who are supported by the British government to study in the UK. However, the data shows a serious gender disparity in women's representation and participation in key decision-making positions. And the presentation we heard earlier today was really stark in highlighting those disparities. Initiatives such as the one launched today are greatly needed to increase access and support for creating equal opportunities for women to excel in their profession. And I congratulate everyone involved in the development and study of the products launched today. The UK is committed to gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. A lot of this work goes into supporting girls' education in Pakistan, where we believe that every girl should have at least 12 years of quality education. We hope that our support for girls' education and initiatives such as these launched today will contribute further to foster new dimensions and avenues for women's increased participation and inclusivity at all levels in Pakistan, and in particular in the justice system. We also hope that this will continue to strengthen a more inclusive environment in accessing justice for women and children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayana. Well, before we conclude the event, the female brain behind all this, in addition to Nida, is our star barrister, Malika Bourhari, parliamentary secretary to the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice, member of the National Assembly, and we would like to invite her to share her thoughts today with us.
Thank you very much, Valerie, for your kind words. Today is a very important day for the PTI government, for the Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, the Federal Law Minister, Dr. Barrister Farokh Naseem, and also for me, because this is a very important initiative, very close to my heart. And I believe that when I came into office, my sole purpose was to ensure that, yes, we represent all of our country, we represent women and men, but it was important for me that when I come into office, I utilize my office, I utilize my power to ensure that the women of Pakistan are represented well, that we enact laws, we undertake initiatives that support and enhance the capability of the women and girls of our country. So it is an absolute delight and honor for me. I was always guided by Fatma Jinnah for the contribution she made in Pakistan's independence movement, and I look up to her as a role model. And there are many role models in Pakistan, including retired Justice Nasra Iqbal, that we also look up to. But I always remember this one quote by Madeleine Albright when I look at women around me, and I always say, as she said, that there's a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. On a lighter note, I think women come into office to support each other, not to pull each other down. So a brilliant moment for all of us today, for the Ministry of Law and Justice. And I believe that the Group Development Pakistan, Women in Law, Nida, and you have both done an excellent job in putting this all together. I would also like to welcome and thank Joanna Fredrickson, who's Deputy High Commission, Deputy Head of Commission for the Australian High Commission, and Iona Thomas, Political Counselor for the British High Commission, for their support and in ensuring that this takes place. And of course, our guest of honor, Justice retired Nasra Iqbal, whom we all look up to, who is a role model for women and girls across our country and also globally. I always follow her work. I always follow what she says, and we seek a lot of inspiration from her. So I think this digital platform is very important because it provides a cohesive, important space, in terms of boosting legal aid, in terms of putting together laws and policies that are important, and also recording the achievements of women lawyers across Pakistan. You know, every time I have a discussion in the Ministry of Law and Justice, I'm told, where are the good women lawyers? And I always say, there are many, you just can't see them. And I think this question is what got Nida and me talking, and you being part of it. And after 2 years of this discussion, we are finally launching the web app and portal. What a brilliant moment for all of us together. And the Ministry of Law and Justice always supports initiatives that promote gender equality, that enhance women's representation, and that also remove the barriers that exist when women want to move forward. And it is our responsibility as the state of Pakistan, as the government of Pakistan, to do things that ensure that women and girls across all fields come forwards. And we, as you know, have enacted very important laws, including the Enforcement of Women's Property Rights Act 2020 and the anti-rape law, which has been passed by the National Assembly. These key pieces of legislation will, I think, enhance and protect the rights already available to women of Pakistan under the Constitution and under the legal framework. So brilliant work by all of you. I congratulate all of you for your commitment, for your hard work, and for putting this important initiative together. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak. And always an honor and delight to be part of anything and that promotes women's representation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to all of you. This brings this session to an end. Certainly not the project, certainly not the efforts, Gender Equality के लिए. Thank you, Isham, for your facilitation. We are pleased to have also a young lawyer, starting as a compare. We encourage youth to join us. Thank you to the Australian High Commission and British High Commission for their support, and stay tuned for the next big step, which is the symposium and the Women Law Award, where the statement will be better. Thank you so much, and see you soon. See you in July. Bye-bye.